My wife said she was working late every night. I planted a tracker and discovered the shocking truth about her double life. The first time Sarah mentioned working late, I didn't think much of it. Corporate law was demanding, and her firm had always been notorious for burning through associates. But when working late became every single night for 3 months straight, the knot in my stomach began to tighten. "Another late one tonight, honey," she'd say, pecking my cheek while adjusting her blazer. "Don't wait up." I'd watch her BMW disappear down our suburban street, then spend the evening alone with takeout and Netflix, telling myself that this was temporary. That success required sacrifice, that I was being supportive. But doubt is a persistent companion. It whispers in the quiet moments, grows louder in the silence of an empty bed at midnight, and screams when your wife comes home at 2 a.m. smelling like unfamiliar perfume instead of law books. The breaking point came on a Thursday. Sarah had forgotten her phone charger, and when I brought it to her office, the security guard looked at me with genuine confusion. "Mrs. Henderson? She left hours ago around 5:30. My world tilted. Standing in that marble lobby, fluorescent lights humming overhead, I felt something fundamental crack inside me. The man I'd been, trusting, optimistic, perhaps naive, began to crumble. That night, I ordered the GPS tracker online. 2-day shipping. The device was smaller than I'd expected, about the size of a matchbook. I attached it to the underside of Sarah's car on Saturday morning while she showered, my hands trembling as I secured the magnetic mount. I felt like a stranger to myself, like I was watching someone else betray the basic tenets of marriage. Monday evening, Sarah kissed my cheek with her usual lie. Working late again. This time, I watched her BMW's location on my phone. She didn't go to the office. Instead, the little blue dot traveled across town to an address I didn't recognize, a modest apartment complex in a neighborhood we'd driven through but never stopped in. She stayed there for 4 hours. Tuesday, the same pattern. Wednesday, identical. By Thursday, I was certain my wife was having an affair. The rage came first, white hot and consuming. Then the planning. I would confront them both, create a scene, demand explanations. But something held me back. Maybe it was the lawyer in me, inherited from too many years of marriage to Sarah, but I needed more evidence. I needed to see with my own eyes. Friday night, I followed the tracker to Maple Grove Apartments. Building C, according to my GPS. I parked across the street, hands gripping the steering wheel, heart hammering against my ribs. Sarah's BMW sat in the parking lot. I approached Building C like a condemned man walking to the gallows. Through the lobby's glass doors, I could see a directory. My eyes scanned the names. Johnson, Patel, Rodriguez, Williams. Williams in 3B, the same unit where the tracker showed Sarah spending her evenings. I climbed the stairs, each step heavier than the last. Outside 3B, I pressed my ear to the door. Voices. Sarah's laugh, but not the laugh I knew. This was lighter, more genuine than I'd heard in years. My hand hovered over the door. One knock would shatter everything. But I needed to know. The door opened before I could knock. Sarah stood there, but not the Sarah who left our house in tailored suits and perfect makeup. This Sarah wore jeans and a faded college sweatshirt. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She looked younger, more alive than I'd seen her in. How long had it been? David? Her face went through a series of emotions: shock, fear, resignation, and something else I couldn't identify. How did you? I tracked your car. The words came out flat, emotionless. I know about your affair. Her face crumpled, but not in the way I expected. She wasn't caught. She was heartbroken. Oh, David, you think I'm... No, that's not. She stepped aside. You need to come in. The apartment was small but warm. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. Toys were scattered across the living room floor. And sitting at a small table, working on homework under the glow of a desk lamp, was a girl who couldn't have been more than 8 years old. She had Sarah's eyes. "Daddy's here," Sarah called softly. The girl looked up, and her face lit up in a way that made my chest ache. "Mommy, you didn't tell me Daddy was coming." She ran to me, arms outstretched, and I caught her automatically, my mind reeling. She was solid and real, and calling me Daddy, and I had never seen her before in my life. "David," Sarah's voice was quiet, strained. "Meet Emma. She's ours." The room spun. I set the girl down gently, my hands shaking. "Ours?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Do you remember that night 10 years ago, after the firm's Christmas party? We'd been trying for so long, and we'd had too much wine, and we talked about giving up on having kids. I remembered. We'd made love that night with desperate passion, like we were trying to hold on to something that was slipping away. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks later. But you just made senior associate, and you were working 80-hour weeks, and we'd talked about how we couldn't handle a baby then. She wiped her eyes. I was going to tell you. I was going to tell you so many times. But then you got that promotion, and your mother got sick, and there was never a right moment. Yeah, and suddenly I was showing, and I panicked. You panicked, I repeated, my voice hollow. I told you I was visiting my sister in Portland, remember? For 2 months? But I came here. I rented this place, had Emma, and I couldn't give her up. I couldn't. Emma had returned to her homework, humming softly to herself, oblivious to the earthquake happening around her. So you've been, what? Living a double life for 8 years? Sarah nodded, tears streaming now. I pay for this place. I come here every night after work. I help her with homework, make dinner, put her to bed. Maria, our neighbor, watches her during the day. Emma thinks we're divorced. That daddy lives far away, but still loves her. I sank into a chair, overwhelmed. Why didn't you tell me? At first, it was fear. Then it was time. How do you tell your husband you've been lying about the existence of your child for 8 years? How do you explain that you were so afraid of disrupting his life that you chose to live 2 lives instead? Emma looked up from her homework. Are you really my daddy? The question hit me like a physical blow. I looked at this child, our child, with her mother's eyes, and what I now realized was my stubborn chin, and felt something break open inside me. Yes, I whispered. I'm really your daddy. She beamed and went back to her math problems as if this revelation was the most natural thing in the world. I know you must hate me, Sarah said. I know this is unforgivable. I stared at her, at this woman I'd married, at this life she'd built in secret. The betrayal was enormous, incomprehensible, but underneath the anger and confusion, something else was growing. Show me, I said. What? Show me her life. Show me what I've missed. For the next 3 hours, Sarah walked me through Emma's world, the bedroom with walls covered in her artwork, the kitchen where Sarah taught her to make pancakes, the living room where they read together every night. Emma warmed to me quickly with the resilience of children. She showed me her favorite books, her rock collection, her diary full of 8-year-old observations about the world. She asked if I wanted to see her do a cartwheel, and I said yes, and she performed 3 in a row with the pride of an Olympic gymnast. When bedtime came, she asked if I would read her a story. The one about the dragon, she specified, handing me a worn picture book. As I read about a lonely dragon who learned that being different didn't mean being unloved, Emma curled against my side like she'd done it 1,000 times before. Her hair smelled like strawberry shampoo, and her breathing gradually slowed as sleep took her. Sarah watched from the doorway, her face a map of every emotion I'd never learned to read. After Emma was asleep, we sat in the living room in silence that stretched between us like a chasm. I don't know how to forgive this, I finally said. Sarah nodded. I know. But I don't know how not to either. She looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. This isn't just about us anymore, I continued. She's been living without her father for 8 years because we were both too afraid. You to tell the truth, me to live it. What does that mean? I looked around the apartment, at the life my wife had built in secret, at the evidence of the child I'd never known existed. It means we figure out how to be a family, a real one this time. The conversation that followed lasted until dawn. There were tears, recriminations, and moments when I thought the marriage might not survive this revelation. But there were also moments of recognition of the woman I'd fallen in love with, hidden beneath years of secrets and fear. Emma woke to find me making breakfast, and her delight was so pure it physically hurt. Are you staying? She asked, syrup on her chin. I'm staying, I promised, and meant it. The road ahead wouldn't be easy. We'd need counseling, legal consultations, and countless difficult conversations about trust and forgiveness. Sarah would have to learn to live without secrets, and I would have to learn to live with the knowledge that love sometimes wears the mask of betrayal. But as I watched Emma eat her pancakes, chattering about her upcoming school play, I realized something profound. Sometimes the truth we're afraid to face is also the truth that can save us. My wife had lied to me for 8 years. She'd hidden our daughter, built a separate life, become someone I didn't recognize. And in doing so, she'd protected something precious that I'd been too afraid to want. Now it was time to learn how to be the father I'd never known I was, to the daughter I'd never known I had, with the woman who'd loved us both enough to carry the weight of our family alone. The truth had shattered everything I thought I knew about my life. It had also given me everything I'd never dared to dream I wanted.